the cheapest and easiest ways to add cardio to your clinic gym hybrid. That's a picture of my old gym. So we're going to talk again about these 4 classifications: entry level stuff, the cheapest, easiest stuff you could buy on Amazon and implement 2 days from now. We'll talk about the intermediate level stuff, a little more costly, takes a little more floor plan, a little more planning. And we'll talk about advanced levels. And then we'll also talk about specialty and plyo stuff, because I think that can fill the role again without blowing the bank, or breaking the bank, I should say. So why is this so important? So if you are offering a fitness offering in your gym, I think it's a desire of a lot of people to add in a cardio component at the end. Maybe the last 5 to 10 minutes of class, you do some cardio. It's also the easiest thing to give up. So really consider if you want to do it. For example, I have a client and they work primarily with triathletes, and he says they're doing plenty of cardio. They don't need mine at the end. So they just use the final 5 to 10 minutes of class for a little bit of corrective, a little bit of cool down, talk about stuff. Doesn't even waste his time on cardio, because these people are running, riding, and swimming every week. So why do more? But your group is different. So definitely set up that cardio for your group. So my gym, I had 5,000 square feet. That's a lot of space. But I really want to talk today about what happens if you have a tenth of that space, 500 square feet. So let's start there with the entry level stuff. I think at the very entry level, if you don't have a lot of money, you don't have a lot of space, there's still a few pieces of equipment that are really good. And this is stuff you can even add into rehab. For example, in this level, I see the jump rope, running, battle ropes, and the sled. Sleds you could argue with. But those first 3, jump ropes, running, and battle ropes. Jump rope is probably one of the unsung heroes of posture improvement. You want to improve somebody's posture, man, hand them a jump rope, teach them how to jump rope, because when they mess up or they get lazy or they hunch down, the rope whips them. They whip themselves, and they remind themselves to stay nice and upright. I think it's great for that kind of elastic rebound strength. It's great for bone density. There's a lot of good that comes from jump rope. So jump ropes, you can find them decent quality jump ropes for $15 to $20. Hell, I saw some on Amazon for as cheap as $4. I don't know the quality, but it's worth a try. This is a great exercise. It's tough. You sweat a lot. And especially with people who are going through rehab and whatnot, they have to engage their core. They have to brace. They have to create some stiffness in the right ways to really be able to jump rope. So I think it's a fantastic place to start. Now, one little caveat. If you're going to do jump rope, you need some ceiling height. You can't have somebody jumping rope and catch that jump rope on your fire sprinkler, right? Ask me how I know. I had somebody jumping rope in our old place with our small rehab area, and they damn near hit the fire sprinkler. I also almost took it out with the head of a driver, had somebody swinging a backswing in golf. Anyways, jump rope, cheap, easy. You can get, 4 different lengths of jump ropes, pretty cheap. I really like the ones from Rogue Fitness, the licorice jump ropes, because they are color coded. How about running? This is free, essentially, as long as it's safe to do so, maybe in your parking lot or you have a street right next to your business. And it's great if you think this is safe. Now, if you're in a really busy shopping plaza, maybe this isn't the best option. But if it is, I would say do yourself a favor and have some pre-measured lengths, and try and find either a marker or a landscape feature, or something that tells them to turn around. Maybe they get to a stop sign on Maple Street, they turn around, or you measure out 400 meters and get some street marking paint that's available at Home Depot. It's what they mark storm drains and stuff with, that orange paint, and just make a mark there and put some numbers there so it looks official. Mark the street at 400 meters and maybe again at 800 meters, but super easy. Now, I will tell you that if you're working in weight loss and you have some heavier clients, they might not be able to run, or they might not like it a lot because it hurts, or they're worried about it, or they got injured running. So think about that. And also, what will you do in inclement weather? So if it's snowing, rainy, if it's icy outside, what's your alternative to running? All right. But heck, get people to run, and it just does amazing things. So running is a great option if you don't have any space. If I only had 200 square feet and I was trying to run classes of 4, I think I would probably have them run out in the parking lot or something, because then we don't get that conglomeration of bodies inside the room. All right. Now, one other thing is battle ropes. I mean, these are so cheap. They they work well. Uh, and also, more than anything else, man, they look cool. Like, think about how many commercials you've seen around the Super Bowl where they got some athlete. What are they always doing? They're always doing battle ropes, right? Like, it's the international sign for this is a super cool workout person. Like, battle ropes are awesome. So people love doing them. Good news is they're cheap. Uh, Their good news is also all you need to attach them is you can have a wall anchor. I mean, I was on Amazon and there's a $15 battle rope fitness anchor. It's just a hoop that you attach to the wall. I've even done this at a Perform Better seminar where they had 4 battle ropes going. Now, this is a very large kind of a convention ballroom, 4 battle ropes going, and they were just anchored around the 4 legs of a folding chair. They just had somebody sit in the folding chair and they had a battle rope going kind of out each direction. So if you're out in a parking lot or something, you got some battle ropes, it's awesome. Here's what I've learned about battle ropes. Number one, you do need some space because you have to extend that rope out, right? And if it's only a 10-foot long rope or you're only 10 feet away from the wall, that person's going to swing it hard. It's going to rip that anchor on the wall. You need that weight that comes from the length of the battle rope. Okay. Second thing I've learned, they sell different sizes. Usually it goes 1 inch, 1.5 inches, 2 inch, and 2.5 inch. If I were to guess, I think this woman is dealing with a 2.5 inch rope. It's pretty big. I find that's too big for most people. I would, instead of a battle rope, use an 1.5 inch. I'm sorry, instead of a 2.5 or 2 inch battle rope, I'd use an 1.5 inch. A little bit easier to manage. They can create bigger waves, and it's a whole lot easier to store. These big 2 and 2.5 inch ropes, they don't coil up real easy. So they're a pain in the ass to store, but give that some thought. There's also those, what are they called? They're not battle ropes. They're kind of like a long elastic band that you kind of use. Oh, Alex Sarazin told me about them. I can't remember the name of them. Either way, look into those. Super easy to store because storage is going to be a large part of this, right? That's one of the limitations in general of cardio equipment. You don't want to have to store that stuff, or you're going to have to store it. So where do you take it? You know, if you only have 400 square feet and you put 2 Echo bikes in there, 2 air bikes, you just chewed up a lot of square footage. So whatever you're going to use, make sure that you can store it. Okay. So I like 1.5 inch ropes as long as you have the length. I'll also put on this list sleds. Now, sleds are tough. They're kind of expensive. You got to load them up. Early on, I think get a drag sled. This is a pushing sled, but get a drag sled. You can get them cheap off like different equipment suppliers like Rogue and Perform Better. And, you know, only use them when you do partner workouts and put the partner on it so that the partner gets drugged one way and then they switch and drug the other way. If you don't have a lot of space, I wouldn't use the sled that you had to load with plates because you don't have plates, because you don't have space for plates, because you don't have space for bars, and you don't have space for a squat rack. Instead, find a drag sled that you can load up with kettlebells or sandbags or something, whatever the hell you have in your office, bodies. Hell, it's easy. But the other thing is when you go to store it, these things are tough to store. They're kind of gangly. They don't really fit right. They don't fold up. They're just there. So if you have the square footage, it's awesome. If you don't, then find something that's useful. Nowadays, with some of those drag sleds, one of the nice things is that the post in the center of it that takes plates, it folds down. And so that allows you to store it easy, transport it easy and everything. The other thing with sleds is you got to have turf. You got to have a slidey surface, either turf or carpet. If this gentleman was to take his sled across to where those racks are and try and slide it on the rubber, it just ain't going to work. So if you have all rubber flooring, you can look at the Tank by Torque Fitness. It's wheeled and it has like a brake on the wheel so that you can set how hard of resistance it has to turn the wheel. That works pretty good. We have one client that uses it up and down her carpeted hallway that she finds that clients really love it. One advantage is in this, you know, there is no eccentric loading of the lower limb. And so when people are coming out of ankle, knee, hip rehab, even spine rehab, it's the eccentric portion that's often difficult to control. And they don't have to deal with the eccentric portion here. There's only the concentric push of that sled. Plus, transferring all that energy from their arms to their legs means they've got to organize their core, right? They've got to get everything stacked and strong to be able to transmit that force. And you'll see when you put young kids on a sled, their legs push hard, but they just can't hold their arms in the right position, and they end up kind of noodling apart. So it has a lot of great transfer. Sleds are awesome. There's a lot of options. I remember back in the day, was it 2023? So we opened our gym in 2013, and it was tough to get a hold of sleds. You just couldn't find them. So it's funny now, there's hell on Amazon. I looked, there's 52 different good sleds available. Find one that works for you. If you do have one that you're going to do pushing, I really like the height of these handles, especially for less fit clients. If I was working with athletes on a high school football team or collegiate team, man, I'd have those low handles, but do yourself a favor. Get one that has those high handles because it's so easy for people to use. And then the other thing is, I would not encourage people to turn the sled around. I would want it going forward and back. Think of it stuck on railroad tracks. Every injury I've ever seen from sleds is always in when it's turning around. I had a client, they swung the sled around and nailed another client in the freaking medial or the lateral malleolus. That had to hurt, man. A couple 100 pounds of sled hitting you right on the malleolus. It hurt like hell. I would just have lanes and I would just go forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. I wouldn't mess with turning it around. That's one thing I do like about that tank, the Torque by Torque Fitness. You can use it forward, back quite well.
Thanks so much for checking out these videos. I hope they're useful. We'll cover things like rehab, exercise, business model, progressions, layout, everything else that helps you build a clinic. So if you're interested, you can click here, there to get more videos just like this.